the Heidi Collins Podcast.
Go!
Hello, I've got my new guest today, Toni Atkinson. Hi, Tones.
Hi, Heidi.
How are you going?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Hey, Toni is New Zealand's water ski champion, or one of New Zealand water ski champion. Over her athletic career, she has won numerous competitions, both nationally and internationally. I can't even say that word this morning, like the under-17 slalom title in Australia and state titles held in Brisbane, Australia. She was third overall in the under-21 age group at the Australia versus New Zealand Challenge and also gained 3 gold medals in the open women's jump, under-21 slalom and jump, as well as a silver medal for under-21 women overall, also receiving the Silver Star Trophy at the New Zealand National Water Ski Champs. Her career and dedication to her sport is inspiring, but has not come without its own personal set of challenges, which has threatened to take her out. Facing a sometimes debilitating depression and anxiety, today Toni and I are going to unpack her successes and how she rose above obstacles and what she has to do every day to not relapse back into that space. Here we are. So I've known Toni, which I call her Champ, which I'll probably flick into that because that's what I've called her for the last 6 years. I've known her for 6 years. I used to train her in boxing. Yep. Started when she was 19 because she's 26 now. And I was her land-based... I know, right? I was her land-based coach while she had on the water coaches as well. So we did boxing, we did strap training, we did a lot of stuff. We did a lot of mental agility work as well, didn't we?
Huge.
Yeah.
And you also got those bubbles out of my feet sometimes.
She had a massive injury on her knee. That was when you went to America. Where did you go?
Florida.
Yeah, to that camp over there.
Yeah, training and then to under 21 Worlds.
Yeah, that's right. And you came back and you busted your knee.
Yes. Yeah.
How did you do that again?
Jumping.
Yeah, jumping.
Yeah. Slipped out off the ramp and just
Yeah.
Lots of people think when you're hitting the water, it's not that hard, but it's really.
It's like
hard.
concrete, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So basically, we want to talk about. So water skiing's not, in New Zealand, it's not a funded sport. It's not that well recognised, is it?
No, unfortunately it's not.
No.
It's, it's not like rugby, tennis, golf.
All the major dominant sports, aren't they?
Yeah, and I mean there's a lot of sports like that don't get probably the funding that they definitely need, especially with water skiing. I mean my gear alone costs, I've probably got $15,000 to $20,000 worth of gear. And then you've got travel and everything else on top of that.
Yeah. Sorry,
no, that's all right. Yeah, so
$20,000. So, and how long? When did you start skiing? It was like when you were 4 or something ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was 5. Yeah,
5.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, a year.
No,
Amazing. And you used to go out with your dad because you're a water ski family, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Started with your mum,
actually,
Janet.
With my mum. Yeah.
Hi, Mum.
Hi, Mum.
We love Mum. Hi, Janet. Started with her, and her family, and then you guys have progressed.
Which was funny because she never really got into it. She always jokes about how she got her personal best when she was extremely hungover. And that was it,
no
really.
There,
yeah. And then when she met Dad was the one that really got into it. And then just natural progression.
Yeah.
Cole and I were just always up at Kaiwi Lakes. And
Cole being Toni's brother.
Yes, sorry, my brother Cole.
He's also a water ski champion as well.
He is. So just naturally from there, I mean, we lived in the water, so it was just natural to then get on the water.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you had a lake, I didn't even know that this was possible, but in New Zealand you can lease a lake. So they had a lake, and I came up to the lake once actually.
Yes, just an irrigation dam up in Northland.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's where you train.
Yeah.
So you were up there quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
So how often would you go up there?
Over summer, like every weekend.
Yeah, crazy.
Every weekend.
Yeah. From what age?
That was probably from when I was about... Probably not when I met you, kind of like that, or maybe just a bit before that.
Yeah.
So, probably 7 or 8 years ago we started going there.
Right.
And then at that point I wasn't working full time either, so it was quite good.
Because you were studying, hey?
Yeah. So I could go up during the week as well, and or do long weekends, or study from distance. So yeah.
I know, it was such a commitment. I remember, once you'd trained with me 3 or 4 times a week, and then you'd be out on the water doing your water skiing and being coached there, because there's also down in Is it Orati? No, where's the...
Oraki?
Oraki. Yeah. You go train down there as well.
Yeah.
I remember you like getting up at 5 in winter to go, and this is the commitment it takes, right?
Yeah. And that was just to navigate the traffic, really, and get my name on the list, because, you know, there'd be other people wanting to ski, and I needed to be places, so I wanted to get my name on the board, and the calm water.
Yeah. At that time of the morning.
Yeah. As my good friend Thomas Gilbert would say, it's always calm at 7 a.m. So really? Had to be there at like 5:30 to get your name on the board some days. In the height of summer, that was like,
massive.
Yeah.
So, and I always remember just the dedication of managing all of this with study and with life and having a social life and, you know, all of this.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you were studying and you, for early childhood...
Yeah.
What is it called?
Bachelor of Education.
Yeah.
Early childhood specialisation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So then leaving school and then having to do water skiing and working and training and... Yes.
Yeah.
So through that period of 6 years, I mean, you hit some pretty big lows.
Yeah. Huge.
What do you think? Why? What? Because I know funding water skiing yourself is massive, because it's not... funded, obviously, like we talked about, and the gear's so expensive. Managing your time, obviously food, because you're training and you're pushing your body to such a level.
Yeah.
You had injuries that you had to navigate.
Yeah,
because you had that gnarly accident as well up at the lake where... What happened?
I pretty much came off the ramp, and rather than, you know, landing forwards...
Yeah.
Like, as you would with my two skis pointing that way, my skis actually landed at like a 90-degree angle.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a lot of, obviously, force, and I pretty much just fell really hard, really quick. So it didn't look like that bad.
Yeah.
But essentially, like, I had all this load and just all these G forces with my body kind of like my front like that, but my bottom half kind of like that. Like,
You had to be fire lifted out, right?
Yeah. No, just an ambulance, but that sounds
ambulance.
way more exciting, so we'll go with that.
And then what? It ripped all your hip flexors. What kind of?
I didn't. When I had, they did just X-rays when I went to the hospital and things like that, and I just had pretty intensive physio after that. I never had anything like a tear or anything identified.
Is it overstretching or what?
He just said that it would have also been like a build-up of
lactic acid.
Yes, like it eventuated into that. But essentially, what he was saying is it probably was something that had actually been going on for much longer than I'd realised.
Right.
And then the accident, that traumatic event, just brought it all to the surface.
Right.
So like it was actually a lot of stuff to do with just everyday stuff, like my posture, how I walk, like, how I'm exercising. If my technique, I pride myself on my technique.
Oh my God, she so prides herself on it. It's frustrating. I mean, it's great, I get it, but there's overachieving, high achieving and overachieving. I think you fit into that overachieving category. I love you.
Yeah, I know you do. So like he was like, okay, so do a squat for me, and I was like I know how to squat. And I did one, and he was like, see, like, and I was like, oh my God.
Ruined your life. I knew how to squat, or I thought I did.
Yeah, so like all that stuff was actually essentially creating this long-term injury in my hip, and like, but since the accident, like, I still struggle with them heaps. Like they they catch, and I'm walking along, and I'll just be like,
right. That's the cost of sport, though, as well, right?
Yeah.
And also, so let's just define. So you do slalom.
Yeah.
You do tricks, and you do jump.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us what slalom is.
So slalom is essentially for people that are familiar with like snow skiing when they go around the flags. Yeah. It's the same kind of concept. So I'm on one ski.
Yeah.
And there's 6 buoys in the course, and you've got to go around all 6 buoys. They say the same distance the whole time. The buoys don't move. In New Zealand we call them buoys, but in America they call them buoys, and I feel silly saying buoys, so I'm just going to say buoys, but I don't mean human buoys.
Just to clarify. We're skiing around human buoys.
Yeah.
No.
So and then as each pass you complete, like the speed goes up, and then you'll obviously get to like a maximum speed for your division, and then the line starts getting shorter. So the boys
the line that you're holding.
Sorry, because I'm holding onto a slalom rope. And so that rope gets shorter, but the boys stay the same distance away. So essentially you've got to keep trying to get around all the boys. So once you miss a boy or fall off, like that's the end of your run. And then you've got tricking, which is acrobatics on skis. Pretty much, it's probably like my least, definitely my weakest event. And for that reason, because I like being good at stuff, it's probably my least favourite event. But
so what are you doing? Are you on 2 skis or 1 ski?
Just 1 ski. I mean, you can do 2 skis, but like 1 ski is more high scoring. So
makes sense to do that.
So
so you're doing flips. What are you doing?
I've attempted flips, never landed one. But like every obviously depending on the difficulty of the tricks, worth a certain amount of points. So the more difficult, the more points. You've got surface tricks, you've got wake tricks. Very similar to wakeboarding. People seem to know a bit more about wakeboarding, so you can kind of and the ski itself just doesn't have fins on the bottom. It's very slippery, so you can do rotations, flips, and we also have we do toe tricking. So again, like you compare that to barefooting, they do that as well. They put their foot in the rope, same kind of thing, and then we'll do rotations, we'll do wake tricks with our foot in the handle.
Wow, cool. And then obviously jump. So jump is this. I remember going to the lake and seeing this thing in the middle of going, you jump off that? Holy gamoly. It's massive, right?
So like I jump off a 5.5 foot ramp. I used to jump off a 5 foot ramp, and then you kind of, as you get, there's qualifications, and then you can put the ramp up. So I'm now at a 5.5 foot ramp, and then men can actually go up to 6 foot as well.
Wow. So woman 5 foot, 5.5?
5.5,
right, and that's the top. And then it's about distance?
So distance rather than height or anything else, and you're hopefully not doing any stunts.
And there's impact when you land, right? Because it's like concrete. So it's about that, taking that force in that squat and stuff.
So you, I mean, I've never been able to stick a stand-up landing, which is, like...
What does that mean?
Pretty much when people, like, I think it looks amazing, because I'm like, you see these people sometimes jump like 50 plus meters, and then they land, and rather than like having to like go down into a squat and kind of taking the impact or lay back or whatever, they'll just land like with soft knees and then just stay standing.
Really?
I'm just like... I've always been in awe of that. I'm like, the day that I do a stand-up landing, I've made it. Do many people do that though in New Zealand? There's a few. Mainly the boys I've noticed, like the men seem to just like the top male jumper in New Zealand.
Who's that?
Lance Green. He'll do them.
Really?
Yeah, jumping like 55 meters and then just...
God, and so how far are you jumping?
My best is 40.1.
And where does that rate in New Zealand?
I believe I'm number 2 at the moment. I may be number 1 depending on my good friend Georgia O'Connell and my rival.
Hi Georgia, we love Georgia too.
Hey G. She... had a bit of a break this season, so I'm not sure. I haven't actually looked at the ranking list kind of since then.
So it's you and her. Do you flip that position?
With jump we're pretty well, she's just ahead of me all the time. It's good. It's good. Like, we're such good mates, so
it pushes you though,
too. Exactly.
So navigating all of that, I mean, it's one, you've got your discipline of your sport plus the technicality of your sport. And then I know not so long ago, so let's go into the depression side of things and what happened there and when that happened and how you managed that. And because I know that you've gone vegan, I know that you've changed up your training routine and you're training lots and lots and lots, and I think both of those things are contributing to the success of managing that. But when did your depression start, or not yours, depression strike?
It's so hard because I had like a pretty traumatic breakup when I was just before I'd met you, and I can remember from then on just always comparing myself to others.
Right. Other women.
Yeah. Right. And just probably this like jealousy that I'd never really felt before, just because I mean, I wasn't horrible to people or anything because of it, but I just sat at home, just always I guess envious is a better word, but just not good enough, like always comparing myself.
Do you think that's jealousy, or do you think it was that you didn't?
I think initially you like recognize it as jealousy, like you come out and you're like, oh, I'm so jealous, I wish I could look like that, or but then like it's way more deep seated than that,
and
like,
that's just like the surface.
It's
like, have you seen that iceberg where they say anger's at the top and then underneath are hurt and betrayal and all these kind of things, and ironically is you're a stunning woman, but you are and so there's no need to, do you know what I mean? Like your own unique beauty inside and out. Thank you. It's ironic that you would want to have to compare, but it's that situation that drove you, right? Not feeling good enough and not being able to see your own worth and beauty. Yeah. Even though you're like rated so high in sports though. Yeah. Do you know, so it's ironic that you would, and like as like I worked through things, and as I talked more with you, like you were hugely enlightening in terms of all this, and you asked me questions that really confronted me and really made me go. I was scared you'd hate me. No. Like it's the reason why I am where I am and why I'm so aware. Yeah. Because I definitely, I mean, naturally, I think we try and blame others for how we feel. Absolutely. And don't own our emotions. Yeah. But now, before I go and play the blame game at all, I look at myself and I'm like, yes, they did, whatever it was, but you don't have to react a certain way or feel a certain way because, like, it's not their fault that you're feeling that way. Well, not letting someone steal your peace. Yeah. And also owning your emotions, so go, that's my anger or my envy or... Yeah. It's a really hard thing to do. Yeah. So not to play the victim, right? Yeah, exactly. Because I think for a lot of years, like I did that, like I blamed the breakup or like, he did that to me and so it's his fault that I'm like this. Yeah. Whereas now I'm like, no, actually, like I let him make me feel like that. Yeah, like I'm surrounded by people like you and my mum, my parents, my friends that all tell me like how beautiful I am, how funny I am, how much joy I bring to their lives. There's like, it's not, thank you, like I have, it's no one else's fault that I'm not rating myself the way that I should. And so that's defined as depression though, right? It's your thought patterns. Yeah. So how do you manage, because do you have anxiety as well? Or a form of anxiety? Like a form of anxiety. Just, I guess for me, it's around other people. Again, something you enlightened me to. I think I'm quite codependent. Yeah. And codependency, so, oh my God, it's so big, isn't it? Yeah, it's huge. And we don't do that in New Zealand, actually. They're big on it in the States. Yeah. But yeah, well, it's such a Kiwi thing. Like, you put others first. Yes, like you do. I guess that's probably actually more like a worldwide thing. It's like you put everyone else first. And I mean... And your mum's really big on that as well. Yeah. Like, and, she's read that book after me because I was like, you need to read this, the book that you told me to read. That Codependency No More or something? Yeah. Codependent No More, And... It's a good book, by the way, everybody. A great book. Yeah. And I think everyone has aspects of codependency. Absolutely. It looks different in they compare it to, drug and alcoholism and those kind of relationships. Yeah. But like, I've never experienced anything like that, but I'm just so pretty much codependency, would you define it as, you just feel extremely deeply and you take on other people's emotions. Responsible for other people's emotions. So you feel it. So as soon as someone's down, like you go down and it's your fault. What can you do to fix it? You become a fixer. And a rescuer. Yeah. So I'm very much like that and I'm still working on that. Like, I don't know if that'll ever, there'll be like an end point to that. No, I think that if you're aware of it and you can highlight it, then that's the first step. Yeah. And maybe it's something that's a default for you, but you can undefault it. I suppose it is like addiction in that sense where every day they have to choose to be sober. Yeah. Like every day you have to choose and actually put it into perspective and go, this is my responsibility, that's your responsibility, and even though I feel really uncomfortable right now, I'm going to stand over here, right? Yeah, exactly. So codependency, depression, thought patterns, all, and how do you unpack that now? Like, because you don't fall into, it's not that do you fall into depression now?
I mean, I messaged you the other day, and I was having a really rough day, and like you said, like the moon patterns and everything.
It was the full moon.
Oh my gosh! Like,
don't think we're hippies. You know, I just want to say about the full moon.
Yeah.
Like, if it can influence tides, and we're 70% water.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think there is some influence on us as well.
I work with children as well. Like,
and you
at work, it's like.
And you see it. Okay, because I don't want to go hippie or herbal, but I think there is some relevance, and science is starting to back it up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I can't quote any at the moment.
No, so like I had that, but it was also, you know, that time of the month.
Yeah, so
it was like
double whammy.
Amazing. And just asked like my boyfriend Chris, like, wow, next level.
You survived, Chris.
He was like, what do you want for breakfast? And I was like, anyway. Yeah, so...
Toffee pots, but they're not vegan. That's funny.
Anyway, so I definitely... I haven't had a time like that in a long time. It just kind of... I haven't found a trigger or anything.
Right.
It's just like, I just get to this point where I don't even know how it starts. It starts off as like... I've done I feel as though I've done something that's made Chris, my partner, like not happy.
Yeah.
So then it's just a spiral from there, kind of like, I can't pick specific examples, but I just feel like I'm not pleasing him, I'm not good enough.
Which that's the codependency, right?
Yeah. And like, by the way, Chris has done nothing to make me think that. No,
I know
this
Chris.
Chris has done nothing wrong, but I'm just like,
and
oh my god.
You guys have a really good relationship, but it's just really identifying right now is where that starts, just to explain to everybody that this is like a pattern.
Exactly. Well, and he's the one I live with. He's my like immediate person I'm with all the time. So so it'll. But I mean, it could be him. It could be my dad. It could be my mum. It could be a friend of mine. You know, or it could be like I text someone and they didn't reply, and then it's like, and then it's just a spiral downwards, really, and then I just get really anxious, and then I just go, you know, what am I doing? Like, why? Like, what am I actually working towards? Like, this is what I went through the other day, and I just went like, and I think the main thing for me is like actually knowing what I want now, because
having a goal or a plan.
Just knowing what I want. I don't even know if I like the word goal, because I've I don't know, if I don't reach a goal and then I spiral down again because I'm like, oh, well, I set this goal and I didn't reach it. I think I just want like this general kind of, and I mean, like I said to Chris the other day, I was like, I just want to be happy, obviously. But I guess the next question is, right, well, what makes me happy? And
well, what is happiness?
And what is, like, what does that actually look like? So then I just go down that path, and I mean, and I always come back with the same answer, and I go, I don't know. But like, again, that leads to more unpacking, because then I go, well, I can recognize now that it's because I've spent so long trying to please other people. And I've just totally lost sight of what I want, and I've actually, to the point where the lines are so blurred that my mind is actually telling me things that I want certain things, even though I don't want them, because my mind knows that it pleases other people, if you know what I mean. The power of my mind freaks me out, because it'll be like, well, my mind will be like, well, I want this. And it's like, and then I'll go, but do I really? I imagine myself doing whatever it is, or achieving whatever it is, and I'm like, that doesn't spark any excitement or emotion in me. And then I'll be able to go, oh no, wait, that's because so-and-so does that, or so-and-so will like me more because I do that. Like, and I can just do that with everything now. So like, I've really lost sight of like what it is that I really want. And
and so it's a journey of coming to know yourself, isn't it? And I think that's the do you think sport helps you do that?
Like I was just thinking that, because water skiing's obviously been a huge part of my identity. And
yes, I remember when
we've had this conversation as well. So like,
Toni Atkinson, the water skier, the Atkinson family, the water skiers.
So,
and not to dispel that either, you know, to keep that high standard, because you've all incredible at it, right?
Thank you. That's always been kind of recognised in that light, and I got to this point where I was like, well, wait a minute, what if I didn't ski anymore?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I just got goosebumps.
Yeah.
I remember this conversation though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, and you know, so then the questions start, my mind flicks into, well, I mean, your dad won't love you as much because, you know.
Yeah. And that's scary, right?
Yeah. And again, this is my mind. This is not what logically I can go, I know that's not true.
Yeah.
But again, like, you know, the power of the mind. And,
well, is it a fear? It's the power of fear, right?
Yeah.
Because it's fear. Well, dad won't love me.
And ultimately the fear of being alone. And you know, it's like, so dad won't let, Chris won't, you know, Chris loves water skiing. I mean, that wouldn't work.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, I go down that pathway, and because and I only started asking myself that question because for so many years water skiing's been like number one kind of thing, like
and taking up so much of your time.
Like I didn't have a typical, well, I mean, later in my teenage years, I had more of a social life, but kind of in those years where, you know, it's like weekends, you want to go hang out with your friends and stuff, like I was skiing. I think I also subconsciously built up a bit of a resentment about it, because on the weekends it would be like, well, I really want to do this, but I need to train.
Yeah.
And it's like I wanted to, you know, I still want to be a really good water skier, but at the same time, I don't want to resent it.
But there's a cost to being that good at something.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
You know what I mean? And I think that gets lost in I think we're sold this myth that we can have everything and we actually can't. Yeah. And there is such a thing as sacrifice. And if you want to be that high level, there's a cost to it, right? Just coming back to happiness and stuff, because it's such a buzzword, and it's like, you know, you're failing if you're not happy, and you know, you should be positive, and you should be, I think, starting to own your own emotions and understanding that they're actually there to teach you something. That they're highlighting a block or a resistance or something to move you forward if you address what that emotion is, right? Totally. And then what is happiness? You know, what is that for you? Because I know for me, happiness is peace and fulfillment, and, you know, peace is a big one. Tranquility and having the time to train, and which I don't have at the moment. So I'm getting stressed because I can't train, and, you know, so finding a schedule that works, and for me as well, it's not about goals, but it's about, I feel like I'm failing sometimes if I'm not happy. Yes. Do you feel like that?
Yes, like,
because what have I got to be unhappy about, actually? You know? So
and again, like, even when I'm not happy, it's not like, oh, look after you. It's like, oh, so-and-so's not going to want to hang out with me if I'm all miserable. Like, And again, like, it's always about other people.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Don't just chill yourself, be nice to yourself.
Yes. But it comes down to self-care as well.
Oh my God,
And self-care, I think, has been misrepresented in the sense that that they think that people think it's about bubble baths or drinking wine, or, you know what I mean? Because I think that's how it's sold on your Facebooks and your Insta, where actually self-care is about paying bills. Self-care is about sleeping in sometimes. Self-care is, you know what I mean? It's so much broader than bubble baths and wine. You know, and luxury. It's about doing those things that you don't have stress the next week, I think.
And you have to make time for them.
Yeah, you do have to make time for them. And prioritise, like, your admin of your life.
And if you don't want to be like, I mean, at the moment, there's so much sickness around. Like, you know, you and me, I refuse to go to the doctor. Like, I don't want to. So for me, like, getting by day is actually, it sucks at the moment that it is like this, but it's like, I don't want to get sick. So like, I'm taking steps. I'm drinking so much water. You know, I'm making sure that I'm trying to get my nutrients in. And
So I just want to put a caveat around you not liking to go to the doctor. So you actively understand nutrition, and you actively do stuff every single day. It's not that you're being irresponsible. No. That you understand food is medicine. And you need certain supplements to get through, and you also need rest, and you also need
Oh, don't get me wrong. Like, I have my days where I just, you know, I binge and I blow out and I eat bad food. But ultimately, like, day to day, I know that, you know, what I'm putting in my body is, and again, like, that's why I'm so hard on myself sometimes, because if I do have a blowout, I'm like, oh, you need to nourish your body. Like,
Well, our cells are made from the food that we put in our body. So, but there's also, excuse me, that fine line between, because you're such a high achiever, between how to have that balance and perfection, because that can also be a form of, is self-abuse the right word?
I know what you mean.
It's not the right word, but you get what?
Yeah, it's self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage.
Yeah.
It's that another thing to be down on yourself about.
Yeah.
Right? Which can spiral. So I want to talk about, you decided to go vegan.
Yeah.
And you've been vegan for how long?
It was July.
2017 or 16?
Yeah, just last year, so 2000. So yeah, just
but
over a year now.
But you're playing around.
Yeah. So I initially went like vegetarian, but I think from like July last year, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to say plant-based because I know there's going to be critics who say, well, do you have leather this or leather that? And I don't have honey, but like I know I have also read, how the benefits of honey and things. But then I think you tagged me in something on Facebook one day, and I was like, oh my god,
I can't eat
honey.
Not the bees. I'm sorry, I won't. Oh, I can't untag you.
So as for me, it's more about like I have focused on so far, like the nutrition side of things and the plant-based side of things.
So just to explain, veganism is, well, this is my interpretation, don't shoot the messenger. Okay, there's two, vegan and plant-based. Vegan is about the animal welfare and the sacrifice of animals, and that we don't have to eat animals or use their products.
It's a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle and a philosophy.
Yeah. It is like, you don't buy anything that's
tested on animals.
I try not to buy anything tested on animals. I always look for that, definitely. But it's like no leather, just nothing.
Yeah, not tested on animals in your makeup, your household cleaners. It extends to every facet of your life.
So I'm not quite. I'd love to be there one day, but I'd hate to say, hey, I'm vegan, and then
someone go, but you.
But the funny thing is if you say, oh, I'm plant-based, people are like, what's that? And it's like, so then you kind of try and explain it, and they're like, oh, so you're vegan, and it's like, oh no.
When I think plant-based came from the way I learned about plant-based was from Rich Roll. That was kind of his movement that he. So he wasn't. They don't class themselves as vegan, but they don't eat meat, and they have lots of raw food, and it's all new because he's an ultra
marathon runner.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, he's insane.
I listened to that podcast too. It was so good. Rich Roll did this amazing podcast this week with John McAvoy, and
Iron Man runner.
He was in prison, and it's pretty inspirational, pretty cool. So check that out.
Yeah.
So plant-based. For your mental health, for your training, what was the initial driver behind that? And have you seen benefits in your mental health from eating like that?
Yeah. So initially it started off as my health, just weight loss.
Yeah.
I had a very stubborn kind of weight, I guess, that I was like, why can't I, get below this certain point? And I was like, I think, I've still got fat in these places, and again, this is all, I said I don't like goals, but, I've got this image in my head of how I want to look.
Yeah.
So, it started off with that, and, surely enough, the weight kind of came off, like that last weight that I just never seemed to be able to budge.
Yeah.
And then since then, I've also noticed that... And look, I don't like using scales as like a measure, but it's the most accessible thing for me. I can't go and get my fat measured and all that stuff all the time, so I just use it kind of as a bit of a measure. But like my weight on the scales it used to fluctuate. I could seriously be like, anywhere between 1 and 3 kgs heavier, and then lighter the next. And
it's crazy how that happens, especially with the amount of training that you're doing as well.
Yeah,
it just. To be 1 to 3 kilos, like 3.5 kilos is half a stone.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and now I find like I'll have days where I blow out, but my weight doesn't budge.
Because you can eat more vegetables than you can.
I eat so much food.
I know, but that's amazing.
Everyone always looks at my plate and they're like, "Are you gonna eat that?" And
you're like, nom.
And it's so yum. That's the other thing, is because I no longer can just go, right, I've got my piece of meat, I've got my carbs, and I've got my veggies. Like I used to do that, right? So it was just really like bland.
Yeah.
And like again, that's just like my bad. I'm just not good with recipes and stuff. But now that I'm kind of forced to go, right, I need something that's filling. I need something that's
satay.
Yeah. I need something that's gonna fill me up, that's gonna energize me, that's gonna let my muscles recover. So like I'm kind of forced to look at recipes because like I'm out of my comfort zone. Like I don't know what to cook.
What's those recipes you can do?
The Revive
series.
Yeah, they're actually at Auckland Cafe.
Oh, I've been up there. Have you been up there?
No.
Oh, that's good. So Revive is a easy way to get into plant-based as well if anyone's interested. And he's got the 30, so you can make like 7 dishes. Is it 7? 5 maybe.
He does. You mean like how he does the meal
5,
together?
Yeah. And it's all in 30 minutes. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
This is insane. Yeah. And it actually only takes that long, which is and it's so delicious. And it covers all your nutrients that you need as well. Yeah. So remember that night we had with you, Brooke and I,
potluck,
and we all bought our day. Yeah, it was so good. Yeah. And our recipes were from there. Yeah. So obviously food has a massive impact on mental health, and also that they've learnt about, and tell me if this is true for you as well, that our gut serotonin, 90% of our serotonin, which is our feel good in our brain, is made in our gut. So if our gut isn't healthy, and our brain uptakes the serotonin from our stomach, if our gut, they're calling it the second brain, if our gut isn't healthy, your brain's not going to get the serotonin, and then you're not gonna feel good, which is what's a catalyst of, not catalyst, that's the wrong word, what am I looking for? Anyway, you don't feel good because your brain isn't using, it's not accessing the serotonin. So depression is a side effect of that, right? And I can instantly, again, like if I have a blowout day, I feel crap. I feel so crap. And same with like exercise. Like, you know, if I don't exercise, I know no matter how hard it is to get myself off the couch, and you know however crap I'm feeling, if I exercise, I will always feel better afterwards. I've never. It's like that cliche, no one ever regrets a workout. Like, or no one ever regrets eating healthy food.
No.
Never,
like,
ever.
I have wanted to throw up after working out with you, but that's like a good, broke through a fitness barrier kind of thing.
Yeah. But that's because I made you drink beetroot juice before training as well. Remember that? We went through a phase of that.
Funny though, like I went for a run after I just experimented, because remember the beetroot juice thing? And I think I had like my quickest run like ever.
See, so beetroot juice oxygenates your... Sorry, I have to do a plug for beetroot juice because I love it. It tastes really earthy though, hey?
It does.
Yeah.
But this is not canned, like, that sweet beetroot. This is a real raw juiced beetroot.
Organic. Yeah, it's organic. But it oxygenates your blood, and so pre-training, it floods your body with oxygen and you go harder, faster.
Because I was getting blue lips, eh?
Yeah, you're breathing.
I was training with Heidi, and my lips would go blue.
Yeah, I know, that used to freak me out.
Yeah.
We need oxygen, get the beetroot juice, IV that shit. So obviously diet has had a massive impact, but also your exercise and how often you train.
Yeah.
And you train a lot.
Yeah.
I used to train like that back in the day. I need to get back into it because I'm the same. If I'm not training and I'm not eating properly, my mental, and I'm not saying that I have depression, but I feel my mental health fluctuate, and I don't necessarily handle stress as well. I don't manage my life as well. I can blow out on things and get upset on things quicker. But if I know, you just feel good when you have more energy, but you also feel like you're looking after yourself when you eat properly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's
like giving yourself a hug.
It is. Absolutely. That's fruits, that's vegetables, that's water, that's having, making sure you got your omega-6s and 3s and 9s in balance, and, which you can get through chia seeds, by the way. We're all about the food and medicinal, because it's important. And I think we've lost that tradition of handing down from mums to daughters or whatever to understand what good food is. And now we're getting our nutrition advice off marketing packages. And the thing is, the sad reality is that if you can't read the back of a pack, you can't understand what an ingredient is listed as, then neither can your body.
No. And that's like also like what I'm finding with this whole when you see something that's labelled like vegan, so people are like, oh, it's vegan, like it's healthy, it's so not true, like, oh my gosh, all that those pretend meats and all that stuff, it's like
they're full of canola oil.
Like don't get me wrong, like I'll have them now and then, but same. Like I'm very aware of what I'm eating, like, and that's the bottom line, I guess, for me, is that I'm aware of it. Like I think so many people, and I used to do it, you just eat things without being aware or educating, self-education, like just knowing what it is that you're actually putting in your body. And it's
really important now, because we have so much toxic food out
Yeah.
there, and because we're so busy that we're in this processed life that we just grab, we're hungry and we eat it, but then
what's cheap, and I mean again that's not necessarily our faults, like it's hard, it's so hard to live at the moment, like just the cost of living.
Oh, absolutely.
And and when a bottle of Coke is cheaper than a bottle of water, it's like it's wrong.
Yeah,
it's
it
like
is wrong.
So what?
What option? And if you've got mouths to feed and families to
yeah,
feed,
exactly. It's sad. It's really horrible.
It is. So understanding what's in your food.
Yeah.
Homemaking. That's not
homemaking as much as possible. I think just avoiding any processed foods. I think is the bottom line.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so exercise. Tell us how much you exercise, Toni. Go on, do it. Well, let's give a plug to Kepa Trainer. Trainer.
Train with Kepa. Let's Go Fitness.
Yeah. He's amazing. Toni does boot camps with him now.
Yeah.
I don't train her anymore.
Yeah.
You do boot camp. Are you still training for water skiing though, or when the season kicks off?
Well, in my mind, I think subconsciously, like everything's kind of water skiing is like what I'm working towards.
Right.
So I don't specifically my program. I haven't necessarily said to Kepa like, oh look, I'm a water skier. I want to do this,
like
and
when
this.
We were training.
Yeah.
Right.
But honestly, my skiing, like, because I'm skiing less because I'm working full time.
Yeah. Right.
But like, I just had probably one of the best seasons I've had.
Nice.
And that's post injury. Like I didn't jump the season before that because of my injury. And so I haven't necessarily gone, oh, I'm doing this because I'm a water skier, but the training I'm doing with Kepa just is pretty much high intensity interval training.
Yeah, perfect.
45 minutes. And I'm also doing his online challenge at the moment. Yeah. So I'm training 5 to 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And then I will sometimes 2 or 3 days I train twice a day.
Yeah.
But they're not like long, like I'm not at the gym like lifting weights, like don't get me wrong.
It's all functional fitness,
it's
right?
Functional, it's body weight,
yeah.
And it's high intensity cardio.
Yeah. And I just want to talk about Kepa for a minute because he's got he's done some morbidly obese people and worked in lower socioeconomic demographics.
Yeah.
And his commitment to these people is genuine. He actually cares. It's not. I actually haven't met him personally, but just everything I see and talking to you and stuff, it's actually this is his passion and his jam, right? I'm getting goosebumps now. Yeah. I actually get a bit emotional thinking about what he does for people. Well, and the community. Yeah, he's really big. He does at Christmas. He goes and gives away presents to children that can't actually have them. Yeah. So check out Kepa. What's his? Have we got some? Yeah, just train with Kepa on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah. Let's go fitness.com. Yeah. Let's do that. Yeah. So you train with him in a boot. How many days do you do his boot camp? 3. I do boot camp 3 days a week. Yeah, and then you do his online stuff the rest of the time. Yeah. So he does an 8-week challenge again. Like he does it so it's affordable. He does it for that's what I like about his whole goal is for people that like fitness has become quite it's not unaffordable. I mean, you can always get out and go for a walk, but just in terms of people that really want to step up their game, athletes like people like me who I don't get funding for my sport and things like that. It's so affordable and it's quality. Like I'm sweating at the end of every workout. My body, I need to recover. Fat crying, Toni. It's fat crying. We like that. Liquid awesome. Yeah, liquid awesome. Yeah. Amen. So what's the level of time? My language and English today is disgusting. How long I train for? There we go. Translator right there. Usually, like 45 minutes. No, but total a week. Sorry. So how many hours a week? I'd probably say if I did like an hour, I'd probably say 10 hours. 10 hours a week? 10 to 15, just depending on. So by the time you've done 10 to 15 hours fitness, you've done your food, that sets you up for the week? Yeah. And it just keeps you going, right? Yeah. Because the difference that I've seen in you is that you've just flatlined. Yeah. Everything's... Yes, we have... It goes like this in a good way? Yeah. Say flatline. You're not dead, mate. No, you're not dead. Long time dead, but not yet. No, but it's just there's no high highs and low lows anymore.
No, yeah, it used to be extreme.
It was extreme.
And I can, those extremes come out, when I have bad food days.
Yeah.
Or when I miss exercise.
Yeah. Because your food and your exercise is your medication, right?
Yeah. And but rest as well. Like,
yes.
Ironically.
I'm so proud to hear you say that. Yeah. There was a time.
Oh, there was a time. I was doing
obsession, right?
Yeah. And I was doing an 8-week challenge and things like that, and I just kept pushing through, and like not just mental stuff, but mental, emotional, physical,
everything.
Yeah, and I'd just be like, no, like that's weakness. Like, and you do that whole.
But I think though, when you're learning, because coming back to it's come to know thyself, right?
Yeah.
So when you're learning, I think we do tend to go into this extreme.
Yeah.
And then we come back and find what balance is.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what at 26 and this kind of 6-year journey that you've been on.
Yeah.
That's what you've learned, right?
Yeah.
And so the peaks and
really.
and so now you're in charge of your life.
Yeah.
And you're creating it, and you can understand and articulate your emotions, and you know when to exercise and not when to exercise, and all those kind of things.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. I used to have no idea, I think. And
I don't think any of us do until we're taught to break it down and to look at it and understand ourselves. Yeah. And confront ourselves, and that can be the scariest things, because there's ugly bits in all of us. You know, we're all flawed, right?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Perfectly imperfect. Yeah.
Every day. So how do we still like ourselves or support ourselves, or and I think when you actively exercise and eat properly, and you're doing that level of self-care, and that becomes a priority, then everything just else falls into place. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Absolutely.
So water skiing, what's the goal now?
So at the moment, hasn't been announced yet, but I think there should be. Oh, actually, there's been an announcement for the Asian Oceania National Champs. Yeah,
where's that? In New Zealand?
But, and this is one of the things with the smaller sport, I think the venue's a bit up in the air, so actually don't know if it's going to happen.
Will it be in New Zealand?
No, sorry. So it was in New Zealand. This happens every 2 years, this tournament.
Right, yeah.
A lot of the international tournaments are like that, so they happen year on, year off.
Yeah.
So last time it was in New Zealand, but this time it was meant to be Australia, but I don't know if it is going to be. So I mean, that would probably be the next kind of thing for me. I've been to 3 or 4 Asian, Korea, Indonesia. Yeah, I've been to 4 Asian Oceania Championships, and I've gotten...
All self-funded,
No, sorry, 3, definitely 3.
Yeah.
Because I've gotten a silver medal in slalom 3 times now.
From there?
Yes.
Right.
So I really want to go and get
a gold.
Yeah. But, so... And when you say self-funded, I do have to thank my parents, because I would not have done any of the things I've done without them as well.
Sure. Yeah.
They're awesome. So, so that's probably the next thing. And then my partner Chris is keen too. I think an open worlds would be really cool. So I've done
him or for you?
For both of us. I think that's kind of like the ultimate goal. Yeah. Like, because he's done under 21 worlds. I did it under 21 worlds. Yeah. I did a university worlds as well.
Cool.
But I think an open world. So that's like all the pro water skiers, you got the world number ones there, and
nice.
That would just in itself be an experience. So obviously total privilege to get selected for the team. So that's probably the next thing too.
Exciting.
Again, unfortunately it does come back to money and like the situation at the time. So just
water skiing's quite a big community though, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, big but small.
Yeah. The people who ski, but you're tight and you're small, and
everyone knows everyone.
Yeah,
kind
absolutely.
Of, and even internationally, everyone kind of has a gist of who everyone is.
Nice. And where they're ranked and where you get to.
Which is it's an awesome sport to get into. I'll do a plug for water skiing now.
Love
water skiing.
Go do that.
And if anyone wants to try water skiing or just give it a go, honestly, just contact me. I could help you wherever you are around the country.
Or fund water skiing. If you fund water skiing, I mean, hello.
Crazy idea.
Okay, well, good luck with all of that.
Thank you.
And as you know, I finish this always with your top 3 skill code, because we're ordinary women doing extraordinary things. Which, water skier, what you've overcome, injuries plus mental health, what you do every day to look after yourself. You're an inspiration.
Thank you.
And
you are too. And I honestly, I am where I am because of this woman in front of me. Like, honestly,
we're a team.
Taken me to some pretty scary places, but no, seriously. But it's been the foundation for a lot of my learning. Yeah.
Nice. Well, it's been amazing because, you know, we both learn from each other, right? Yeah. All right, give me your top 3 girl codes.
Okay. I said to Heidi, I was like, cool, I've been able to kind of think about this.
Yeah.
So number one probably, and what we've been talking about heaps today, is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
I'm into that. Goosebumps.
Yeah,
yes.
just I mean, I know it's a bit cliche, but I just think in all aspects of life, like it's just, and for me especially, I'm someone who does like my comfort zone. I like knowing what's happening. I like expectation, and you know, I know it's going to happen, but so to actually throw myself out there and do something totally different, or like, that's hard for me, but I also know at the same time it's good for me. And another one would be treat others how you want to be treated, but also treat yourself how you treat others, if you know what I mean. So like, that's good. Obviously, again, like, I'm classic case of treating everyone. I try and be really loyal, friendly, kind, loving, open. Like, whenever I meet people, just really trying to make them feel welcome and not alone and not isolated, because it's a horrible feeling. But then when I'm like talking to myself talk and stuff, I'll be really harsh and real horrible. So I think treat yourself how you'd treat others, and treat others how you'd like to be treated. And then the last one, similar again, but become your own best friend.
I'm into that.
Because you're the only one at the end of the day that you can rely on.
Yeah, that's so true.
I mean, you've got fabulous people around you that love and care about you, but you are without fail 150% of the time the person that's always going to be there for yourself. So.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much for having me. It was so cool.
That was cool, eh?
Yeah.
All right, we're out. That's it.
Cool.
The Heidi Collins Podcast. Girl Code.